Hey everyone, good morning. Hey, this is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing, and we're about to get started here on Friday, November 29th for our live stream of the New York session. Obviously, this is a light trading day. Lots of markets are closed still, but we have a little bit of movement, and we want to take a look at everything that's going on right now and see what we're going to be preparing for the coming week. Let's start with the DXY. I have that pulled up. And we could see that we've broken through this resistance up here, and prices right now since coming back down and testing that breakout. We're going to find out right now whether or not that holds during this session. If we get a breakout, we obviously want to see it hold the support. The resistance became support. And if not, then it's a false move. I have no idea what's going to happen. We're going to watch it and see. It looks like I remember yesterday we were. Let's first check in on the Euro-US dollar. Good morning, everybody. Glad you're here. You're able to join us this morning. Hope you're all well and doing great. I know I'm excited. I know it's a slow day. I don't know if we're going to get any new positions or not. Probably not, but it looks like we've seen some market developments overnight. Want to take a look at them. By the way, just really to frame this, from what I gather, it's a wild card, whether over the weekend or Sunday, that China retaliates to the signing of the Hong Kong bill. But the gist I get is that I don't think they're going to. I don't think I think they really want a trade deal, and there's nothing they could really do. So all that you're doing is restricting the visas of the lawmakers who passed the law. So that might be it. Well, it's an unknown though. So we are seeing dollar strength. If you look at the Euro-US dollar right now, you see that our take profit level. I took profits up here earlier on all these trades, but our original, we were looking for this support to break down, and it did break down, and it looks like the move is reversing this morning. So that we're gonna be watching what happens. Let me look down here in the 8-hour and just get a look right near that, testing right now that broken support, and whether or not it's going to hold, we're going to find out. Again, you don't want to be taking any shorts here on that break. Reason being it's Friday going into a weekend. We have one session left. And again, if you were, and we weren't looking for it, but I just really want to enforce this. It's really important for understanding. The entry would have been up here if you were looking to take this. I wasn't looking to take it or even consider it. And the reason being was, first, we are close to the support. My risk to reward was very poor. I wasn't looking to add a position over here. If you were looking to add a position, it's up here, not down here on the break. Okay. Right now we have the entry CCI oversold in the downtrend. We just broke. Just wait it out for the good setups. Right here, you just want to be on the sidelines on the Euro-US dollar. I know that a lot of people, when they see price moving, they really want to get involved. The best thing you can do is just wait for your setups. So I do want to take a look at, we were watching what was going to happen. This was on the US dollar, Canadian dollar. We said yesterday that this was the only pair that would normally have had a setup to consider yesterday, but we weren't going to take it because of the Thanksgiving holiday. I just want to look at how that played out. You could see we were watching price, and we were looking for a buy entry off of this support, and that has since gone into favor. You could see that this looked really good. You had the uptrend with the entry CCI pull back against the support, so a lot of things were going in the favor of this trade. If it wasn't a holiday, like I said, this is a trade I would have looked to taken. Still have a little room to go before you get to move your stop to break even. But again, I also said I wanted to review it and see what we expected to happen would happen, right? So that's good to see. The US dollar, Japanese yen, again, I took profits. I'm out of this trade. It's about to, or very close to, coming up towards the take profit area that we had in place. It's still about 10 pips off that though. You have to look, if you're long this trade, be looking to take profit around this resistance above ahead in this rising wedge. Sure, if we break out of this wedge, there's a lot of room to go on this trade. Probably close all the way up to here. Probably, I would say the first hurdle you need to get over that's pretty tough is around 112. This thing could go as high as 114 easily, but you have to break out of this wedge. And if we break out to the upside, there's more room to get long. Right now, I'd be looking to take profits if you're in this trade, and well done. Beautiful trade. Really worked hard for it. Good job. Euro Japanese yen, she seems to be stalling out near this resistance here still. This might provide another opportunity if price does pull back and gets another test here to get long. Right now, again, I'm out of this trade. I'm out of all trades right now, which means that I'm just waiting for the market to reset and allow for new entries. And I don't know when that will be. That's what we're doing right now. We're treasure hunting, looking for new setups, seeing how the market's developing. Hopefully things develop early next week, but regardless if it's, takes 1 or 3 days, it's really irrelevant. We just want to really get in the good setups at the right opportunities. So let's also look at the CAD Japanese yen, and, very similar. See the resistance is a little bit off ahead. Price is coming off it a little bit right now. I want to see what that looks like. I probably, if we get a pullback here next week and a chance to enter this trade, yep. If we get a pullback a little deeper, I need to get down here. If we get down towards this support level, this red line, and off this trend line, that's going to be I would go for this pair over the Euro Japanese yen, I think. We'll see what happens next week. Again, right now, I'm just waiting for pairs to reset. And by reset, I mean they're testing resistance right now. They need to be testing support for me to look long in this pattern. And I'm still looking to trade in this pattern. Yep, there's a chance that we break through the resistance to the upside and I don't get into the trade, but I'll get in on the pullback. So right now, I'm just waiting. We're too close to this resistance level. Those of you who are in those trades and managing it, keep an eye on it right now. You're bouncing off of resistance here a little bit, right? You have the weekend coming up. It's a big weekend. It's a big weekend because of the Chinese PMI numbers coming out over the weekend. It's a big weekend because of, although it's looking less likely, any type of Chinese retaliation. And then it's also on the calendar next week. We have Australian out of Australia, the central bank rate statement on Monday. Careful, anyone who has any Australian dollar. This is even bigger. Sorry about this. This is Sunday night. Chinese manufacturing. This is the bigger number here. Definitely, if you see, supposedly the numbers are not going to be looking that good. I don't know if that's true or not. But if we get any type of number below 50, it will be really bad news bears. So you have that directly affects the Australian dollar. And then on Monday also, they're expected to be on hold, the central bank, but it's more in what they say. Could see actually some surprises to the upside. That's what I'm watching out for. And if we do get a surprise to the upside and we see the Australian dollar appreciating, I'm looking to get close here. I'm looking for price to retrace all the way up back towards this resistance, double resistance. This could be a beautiful trade next week. After we get the central bank out of the way, depending on what happens, we might have an opportunity, or we could wake up with a gap down on Monday morning during Asia Open because of the numbers out of China, and then might never get a chance to get in. Either which way, I'm just prepared if we get a test towards this resistance up here, this double resistance. That's a place that next week I want to look for shorts. You see that we have this long sloping downtrend, and every time coming off of this resistance, So until it breaks to the upside, we're looking to short that. Good morning. Let's take a look right now. So the first thing about the pound Australian dollar is, you have to be aware you have lots of heavy news coming on the Australian dollar. First out of China over the weekend, and then the central bank meeting on Monday. So if you're in a position right now, it depends where your entry was. So if you are in a position, let me know what the entry was, because that how you manage it really depends on that. But if you're not in a position right now, you don't want to be taking one before such heavy news over the weekend and on Monday with the central bank, right? You want to wait and see what happens and then get into the play on the same. You never want to take risky plays, right? Right now, she's trading up at this resistance right here. You see it right here. This was resistance, broken, became support. Here it didn't hold. All of those areas, so it's light, it's not heavy, but she's at it right now. It seems like the pound's been firming up lately. It's close to breaking out. I think we're going to find out probably around December 12th what direction the pound moves in. There's a lot of uncertainty here. I would be staying away from the pound Australian dollar. There's just too much uncertainty, especially immediately on the Australian dollar. And then near term on the British pound, you have better plays. All right, let's take a look at the pound. And I have this marked yellow too, because this is a lot of uncertainty right now. Still in that range. This is going on for 5 weeks now. We're just stuck, 5-6 weeks, just stuck in this range, right? Stay away. It's sideways. There's nothing to do. This could be interesting next week. We'll see. Either we're going to be falling back into the range, or it's possible we get a breakout. The breakout to the upside will be interesting. That's something that we will want to follow and see what happens. But right now it appears that there's a strong possibility she's going to fall right back into this range that she's been in for the past 5-6 weeks as well. So again, just stand on the sidelines. There's nothing happening here. You want to be trading with an edge. You want to be trading with markets that are moving. Stay away from sideways markets. And again, have that patience to be able to take trades that are offering opportunity, trades off of support, especially when they have your criteria. Even if they don't, if you're trading off of the right levels, that's fine. Still range bound, right? Stay away from anything that's sideways that offers no edge. We need to practice a little patience here on the Euro Japanese yen, on the Canadian dollar Japanese yen, waiting to get back into these trades. We have to either wait. We're at a resistance right above. So a breakout above the resistance that gives us the opportunity to look for longs on the pullback and test of support. Or if we get closer down here, we have an entry. So that's one to watch next week for a possible trade development, as well here as on the Euro Japanese yen. What about the US dollar Japanese yen? I mean, here you're looking for take profit. Is anyone looking to sell up here? I'm not looking to sell up along the resistance. That's more of a take profit area for me. There's a lot of upwards momentum here. The only way I'm looking to sell this pair is if we break out down of the pattern, right? Break and close of the trend line, look for short. Right now, I'll be looking to take profit. I already took profit. I'm not looking to short this off of the resistance over above. That's a huge counter trend trade. I'm not interested in it. I'm looking to see if we get, any further pullbacks where we could get long here. If anyone sees anything that looks interesting, this could be a possible short, right? Depending on after Monday, after we get the Australian dollar news out of the way, we might have some resolution on what's going on in the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Right now, again, we've been just waiting on the sidelines for a while, for 2 weeks now. Next week, this may open up to provide opportunities. We're getting close, not yet though. And this is interesting. This is interesting, and I want to also look at the New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc in just a second because I'm sure it's similar. But it looks like we might have a breakout happening here. You see all of this resistance over here, which has broken through. You see price pull back, actually tested it. The only thing that's iffy is you also see the resistance right over here, right? So it's almost like a blue box. You have double resistance. So it's not clear yet, but it looks like we're getting closer and closer to a breakout to the upside. This is something to continue watching. We still need to wait for it to be clear and to know that we have a breakout to the upside that we could go ahead and position ourselves into. See, this also looks good. This looks better. This definitely looks better than on the Japanese yen, but it looks like we're breaking out here. We've broken, definitely broken. It depends if we close today above this upper line, this upper trend line that goes back all the way up here to March of 19. Probably goes even higher. This trend line has broken to the upside. This channel resistance is also broken, and price looks like it's going to close up here. So this looks like a nice position trade, not a quick, swing trade, 1, 2, 3 days. This looks like something we could get long on next week, maybe. Let's look at this on the 8-hour. Let's really dive into this trade. I mean, we've just broken through all of this resistance, and the true trend is oversold with the entry CCI towards it. Don't really want to take an entry there following that breakout, but we want to look to get in soon. There's a lot of room to the upside here. You're collecting a nice swap. And as far as where is the stop, this is what we really need to look at, is where to place the stop loss on this trade. And to me, it looks pretty clear. I'm looking at two things I'm going to show you right now. We have this line here anyway, this green line here, which is support. We have that marked at 0.64, right? We have the last down penetration of the entry CCI to the downside, the last swing low right up here. So a stop loss below that, right? Right there around 0.6387 seems to me to be a pretty nice spot because it's below this sloping trend line to the downside. It's below this support. And because the risk to reward is, just eyeballing it, it looks like 1 to 6, even just to get to that first area. And there's potential. I like this trade a lot. I'm not looking to enter it today because I want to see where the close is. We're kind of definitely still a little bit overbought. Prices worked hard. I'm just going to wait and watch, and I am looking for an entry here, and this could be hopefully work out to be a nice position trade. It looks like we've cleared multiple resistance levels. We got a definitely defined area to place a stop loss and just a ton of risk. Looks like a good trade. We got to them both. Let's take a look at the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. And then also we'll look at the US dollar, Swiss franc. So this looks very similar to what we just looked at on the New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc, except it doesn't look as healthy, right? She's still struggling. Like if we break out, we're going to be like, that's a breakout. We know that's a breakout. Right now, this doesn't look, price is retracing back. We have a long wick into that, looks like broken resistance, but it's not holding, it's being rejected. And that's because there's a lot of risk going into the weekend that really shows up in the Japanese yen, right? It could be just simple, manufacturing numbers out of China, or it could be something, a little more serious as far as an escalation in between China and the United States. So the Swiss franc looks to me like the better breakout here. And maybe the next week this develops and it's a little more clearer, and then we could look to take along here. I'm not looking to go short, right? I'm not looking to go short as we're testing above this resistance and it's possible it's breaking, but I want to see a breakout. And then on the test of the support, the broken resistance, we could look if the trend resumes upwards to get in. There's no reason to get in yet here. It's not clear. It doesn't look so good in this moment. That could change drastically over a day or two or three. We'll be following it, but right now it's not screaming that we want to get involved here. It's actually screaming, let's be cautious and wait and watch. US dollar, Swiss franc. This looks good. This looks like it's breaking out to the upside. This looks really healthy. We're clearing this whole blue box of congestion. We're clearing it to the upside. We're breaking out for sure. Let's look on the 8-hour. This looks good. As far as if we could get long, and again, I'm not taking the long here. I'm not taking the long on the break. I'm looking, and I will wait for a test of the broken resistance to see if support holds, and then try to get in as the trend resumes. So this could be something that develops as early as Monday. But right now, we're just watching and noticing, and we are breaking out to the upside. Still got a little bit of hurdles to clear. We have the top of these candles up here, which also coincides with this resistance. So we are breaking up to the upside. We're not clear yet. This looks like something to watch and to follow. I'm just looking where our stop loss would be. And for me, the stop loss would have to be actually just not here on this first penetration, the last one we saw of the entry CCI, the one before it. We want to get below this green line here, which is offering more support. The trade is dead wrong if it falls below this area right here of 0.995. And that's where my stop loss would be. So that's a decent and again, we will be waiting for the pullback, but right now that's 70 pips away. So that's definitely where I would look for, though, where I know I'm safe. And if it gets hit, I know I'm dead wrong. But I'm not looking to enter this today. This is definitely going from yellow to green, and she looks good. This might provide us opportunity on Monday. Would I take both trades against the Swiss franc? Would I take the US dollar and the New Zealand dollar? Absolutely. I like the fact also that kind of hedges you out a little bit, having the New Zealand dollar and US dollar. And they'll both just be positioned accordingly. That's fine. I like that a lot. I like both those. I don't know why exactly we're seeing the weakness in the Swiss franc, but we're seeing it. And both trades offer, especially the US dollar, offer a really nice swap. So it looks like we're clearing out all of this blue area. We have some room to the upside here if we're able to get into the trade. Right now, dollar strong this morning. Is that playing out also further on the euro? Let's see. Getting back under that broken support here. It's close. It's, we're going to see where we end up at the end of this session today. But definitely US dollar is looking fantastic versus the Swiss franc. Looks good today. I'm waiting for that first pullback. I'm waiting for a test of the broken resistance, make sure that's support. The worst thing that could happen is this thing went straight up, which rarely happens. And if it does, I miss the trade. But You gotta trade smart, and you gotta stick to your plan. And the last thing you want to do is chase price like this on a breakout. As you may or may not know, if you do that, probably what's going to happen is that price is going to retrace almost as soon as you enter it. All right, so this is a good one to look for. Both these are good ones. We have the New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc, and US dollar, Swiss franc. They both look like offering the greatest potential going into next week. Lots of sideways still going. This is probably next week. Next week, we're probably going to see a lot of opportunity on Australian dollar pairs. They've been on hold. We're getting the central bank out of the way. It's going to provide the next catalyst for the next move. So we could have actually lots of trades develop, whether it's on the Australian dollar, US dollar, whether it's on the euro, Australian dollar, or the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. We should see some opportunity somewhere. I want to look at the Euro CAD. I'm trying to see how big this resistance is right above here. It's fuzzy. It looks like we've broken down to the downside a little bit here, and now we're testing this broken support to see if it's resistance. Trying to get a clearer look on the 8-hour, and it's also fuzzy. So since it's fuzzy, I'm not looking to take a trade, and it is fuzzy, I guess, because we do have lots of sideways price action, right? You can see that we're basically sideways. She's trending upwards a little bit, but sideways. And although it looks like probably it does appear that she's bouncing off of this resistance right here, this broken support, it may continue to the downside. Everything's flat. It's just really flat. So I don't like it. So Raj, I consider Sunday evening, right? I consider Sunday evening when the market opens up in Asia to be Monday morning. It's Monday morning in Asia. It's when the Forex markets open. Would I take a trade during Asia? No, I will not take a trade during that Asian session. The earliest setup that I would take would be during London. Okay. For example, let me show you what that would look like. Let's do a little exercise, perceiving in our mind what is going on. Let's use the US dollar Swiss franc first. And I'm going to look at the 8-hour chart because that's what we'll be trading off of. All right. Let's say, for example, during Asia on Monday morning, which is Sunday evening for most of you, you see price continue. Price is down in Asia. We have a down 8-hour price bar. Okay. We're still above our support all the way down here. And what I see happening is I would then place, and I will then place buy orders if during London the previous 8-hour bar was taken out. So if the high price point during Asia was taken out, if it's a down price bar when I'm setting the orders, let's say, for example, price is trading, just lower during Asia. At that point, my entry CCI is showing me trade criteria. I'm above this support. This is the support I'm trading off of. My stop is down here. I'll be looking to take a long trade if overnight during London that trade is triggered. And that might not happen. Maybe it'll happen during New York, but that's the earliest I will take the trade. I don't like to take trades during Asia session. Usually entries that are taking during Asia are false entries, and they have low probability of working out. London and New York have good ones. So the earliest I will take a trade here, and also on the New Zealand dollar Swiss franc, same exact thing, would be during the London session. Okay. And if I don't get an opportunity to get in, then I don't get an opportunity to get in. But I'm going to pick my setups and take the best ones that I see at the best opportunities. Yes, for Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar, absolutely. I do not like taking entries during Asia. It's an extremely low percentage of the time that I would do it, and by say extremely low, I mean less than 5%, and it's usually off of big news. Yes, even though it's that hemisphere, that part of the world, New Zealand and Australia, trades taken during the Asian session have low probability. And there's so much opportunity here to the upside if the trade works out, that there's no rush. Get the good entry, get the good trade. There's usually like a sense of urgency leads to a loss in your P&L. Okay. So wait for the good setups, take the good setups. This is like high alert. We're watching it, but we don't need to chase it because it could very well fail. It could very well fail. There's a lot going on this weekend, and let's see what happens. And let's wait for that test of the broken resistance. Let's trade off of support as close to the support as we can. That's the best trade to take. Yeah, so I mean, and that's really that's one of the most important things for all of us to have ingrained in our minds. There's no rush, there's no urgency. Do not chase after a trade. The best entries is buying as close to support as possible, and the best sells are selling as close to resistance as possible, right? With things in our favor. And yeah, we see a trade developing here. It has some nice potential, but we have to wait for it. We're just on high alert. I am curious to see if it's anything more than technical. I would like to know why the Swiss franc is weak. And I don't in this moment. I could just see what's happening on the charts. Aside from that, as we're just 3 minutes into the US equities opening, I'm interested to see what develops during this session. Are we going to see any more resumption of this dollar strength we're seeing overnight, or is that going to reverse? And I'm really tracking that here on the euro using this support level. You can see this support level was broken, but right now it hasn't held. It's not holding in this moment, and it has to close above it, below it, in order for it to hold. So we'll see. I don't know what's happening here with the DXY as well. I had like 98.44 as the resistance level, so we're a little bit above it there. That leads me to believe that even though the euro is falling a little bit behind right now, and you know, you're talking a mere number of pips, that other pairs are probably, you know, the dollar is much stronger than them, which of course we see playing out on the US dollar Swiss franc. What's going on with the Australian dollar? Yeah, this is weak. The dollar is stronger here. Again, you have all Australian dollar pairs are off limits. You have China news coming out over the weekend, and then the Australian Central Bank meeting on Monday. The good news is that then sometime next week, this provides good opportunity for Australian dollar trades, which have been pretty much sideways for a couple of weeks now. We should start seeing them pick a direction after next week, and they could provide some tradable opportunities. You know, BG, but I don't know. And the reason I don't know is because I'm waiting to see what China does to see if they do or don't really retaliate. And it looks in this moment as they're not going to retaliate for the signing of the Hong Kong bill. They kind of changed their rhetoric to, well, you know, even though it was passed, they're not really going to follow through with it. At the same time, I wouldn't want to call China's bluff. If they said they're going to do something, they're going to do something. It seems to me that they do need a trade deal, which is why they're kind of backing off. I think President Trump wants like a ceasefire and to sign a phase one deal because he really wants to get reelected. So that could very well be why we're seeing the Swiss franc come off. But the Japanese yen, like if you look at the New Zealand dollar, this is not really seeing the same breakout that the New Zealand dollar Swiss franc is seeing. This is not seeing. I don't know what's going to happen with the yen. Are we going to resume back down and test, the trend lines over here off of this resistance? We see the same thing on the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, and the US dollar, Japanese yen is getting towards this resistance and top of this rising channel. So we're going to see some yen strength. Why is it playing out just on the Swiss franc, the weakness, and not as much on the Japanese yen? So you very well might have, you might have hit the nail on the head with that, and that's why we're seeing the weakness in the Swiss franc, because it does appear we're going to get a near-term resolution, but I don't know. Panera, absolutely. Let's take a look at that. Oh. A little bit. So it seems this is, the gold seems to be actually making some gains back versus the dollar right now. So you have the last swing low down here at 52. Where is it? At 1452. 74. I had my stop at 1452. This was on the initial reaction of after the Hong Kong bill was signed. You saw gold immediately trade all the way up, and then it was trading down here and has since retraced up. It's kind of flat. It's not really offering anything right now. I'm actually exiting this position. I'm not going to hold this position any longer. This was in case there was an initial reaction out of China. I would say she's pretty much flat, but she's also down below this first resistance and then the big one up here. So the only thing I'm doing here now on gold is waiting to see if we get back towards this resistance up here. And at that point, we'll be looking for further shorts. Again, if we do break above this resistance level at any point, the bulls are able to retake it. At that point, and we'll see, that will coincide with the true trend turning positive. At that point, we'll be looking for longs because we'll have about $30 to $40 worth of movement here before we come up against this next resistance. And the resistance over here will be double, actually. We'll have the resistance from this trend line. And we also have overhead resistance up here as well. Let's keep that line in here. This is a big one. All right, so if we could, if we do regain this resistance level here, if the bulls take it up, we have a nice trade to the upside. Around here is where we would look to get short again. Right now, she's just kind of stalling out. She's just stalled. And exactly, and if we do get any type of a follow through to this dollar strength, yeah, I wish I could have held my short from up here, to be honest. Right? I wish I was still short as prices below here. The only reason I got out of the trade was because of what happened on the signing of the Hong Kong bill, and it was better just to take profits at that point when that type of uncertainty entered the market. Right? Don't want to be trading around high uncertainty. And the possibility that that night, on Wednesday night, if China had retaliated then all my positions that were in profit would have wound up, in the negative, or if my stops had been at break even. And I didn't want to give back those gains. If that didn't happen, then we would still be sitting short below this nearest resistance, and had the opportunity to wait that out, because she could continue to break down, at least another $20. I took a long position actually when the Hong Kong deal was signed. It had a stop at, and I still have the stop at 14.52. But I'm going to look to exit that trade right now. It's just sideways, and it didn't play out the way that the reason I put it on. The reason I put it on was as an insurance, and nothing has happened since. Is anyone else looking at anything else? I think we have a good grasp at what's going on, and I'll review that all in a second. But if anyone is actually sees anything that anything occurring on a pair we haven't looked at that we want to take a look at, I'm interested. Again, the pound pairs really look like you still want to be on the sidelines. They're definitely, they're giving us like false signals, false hope, but they're really sideways. We want to wait for some type of movement on them before we get involved. Really what we see is the New Zealand dollar looking like she's getting ready to break out. I didn't look at the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Which makes sense. We have dollar strength versus everything. So clearly the potential plays are on New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. These could develop early next week. And I do expect after Monday, after we get the central bank announcement out of Australia, after we've seen the manufacturing numbers out of China over the weekend, that the Australian dollar is going to be heavily in play next week. She's been sideways on multiple pairs, not really offering direction. And I think that's going to change. Even this has been difficult. And again, I did get short off this resistance somewhere up here, but I took that almost as a break even. At the time, she wasn't moving down. She's coming down towards this support level down here right now, though. You want to take a look at WTI? We'll do that in a moment. 3324. Right. So, we were looking at this pair yesterday, Hanero, and I wasn't looking to trade it because of the holiday, but we wanted to make sure this was a beautiful setup that we wanted to see what would happen. If this had been a normal day, this would have been a trade looking to take. I think your 3324 area. So here was the setup. We looked at this one and we said, again, this is just going to be an example. We're going to make sure that it plays out as we perceive it will play out. But we're not. I wasn't looking to trade it on Thanksgiving. We had our beautiful entry criteria with the entry CCI pullback in the uptrend off of this support, right? So the entry was right over here at 132.90. And now, as Hanero pointed out, 3324, that resistance up there. If price gets up there, what you want to do, what I would do is that my stop would be moved to break even. And I'm giving it the opportunity to see how it reacts up at that level, right? If price is able to break through, then all of a sudden you have a nice trade on your hands, offering, you have a free trade with stop at break even, and you have a nice profit potential to look for your take profit up along the test of the upper channel. And it's a fantastic trade. It worked out, even though it was during the holiday. Again, if this had not been during the holiday, this would have been the trade of the day for sure. And she's coming close to where you need to look about moving your stop to break even. WTI. I'm still not even sure. Yeah, it was a good trade. I mean, I couldn't even get involved. But, yesterday was a beautiful day to be with the family, and that was the trade of the week, actually. You got spikes everywhere. Does this have a chance of bouncing back? Yeah, absolutely. This is the area that you have the strong US dollar, right? Today, we're seeing actually the selling off. The channel's in play, and that lower channel support is still in play right now. That hasn't broken. Where are you dead wrong? You have pretty strong support all the way down here. So, I mean, it's a tough trade. I don't, there's nothing I like about it. I'm looking to buy over here on a resumption of the trend offwards off of this support line. That's where you're looking to buy. So I'm not sure where an entry would have been for someone on here. Obviously, it would have been somewhere down here off this last support, or over here after you broke through this resistance and then came back down and tested it, up around here. But then you probably would have took profit already or moved your stock to break even. If you're holding this from somewhere over here and you're holding this long, this is a good trade to learn from. That would be contrary to everything that we do in here. So, just focusing then on taking and waiting for those right entry points will be really helpful. But over here right now, you're testing a trend line, and you have to expect it's going to hold until it closes outside of it. If it closes outside of it, you have a lot of downside room to this next support area down here. You have light support over here, right? You'd have to see how price reacted around here at 54.90. And then this one looks to be the stronger support down at 53.7. But once you close outside the trend line, you're definitely looking for price to first test down over here around 55 and then even lower. So if it breaks and closes outside this little channel that she's been trading in. But right now, you do have to expect that it's going to hold until it doesn't. We're seeing so far, this looks like a false breakdown, right? It's Friday. on a holiday week. So, and that's what you have to be so worried about on the New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc, New Zealand US dollar, Swiss franc, is that, it's a Friday on a holiday week. There's low volume, right? This is look like it's shaping up even better and better for early next week. This looks, wow, this is even, now it's making our life tough, right? You could see that price has come back after the breakout and is now testing that double trend line, right? That's beautiful. It just came back and tested both of our broken resistance, and right there as they crossed, they're both double support, price is holding within it. So that makes life difficult, but we're still waiting that out. Okay, not going to chase this. There's opportunity no matter what happens for us to get in. We want to get in at the best possible opportunities. And that's not going into this weekend. That's for sure. So we'll wait it out, which is nice to see. Back to that US dollar, Canadian dollar. Where's your stop loss? All right, so you have, I don't know, you have two possible places for a stop loss on this trade. If you took this yesterday, my stop would have been all the way down at 132.50. All right, that trade is way wrong if that happens. Another opportunity, another place to definitely where you could put the stop loss is up here at 132.73. That's also definitely a legit and good stop. It's better because it's tighter. You'll be breaking down outside this trend line. You're taking out the last swing low. That's a good one as well. But you have to, Hanero, if you're in that trade, you came close to hitting your target for looking how price is going to react. You're seeing dollar weakness now coming in so far early in this session. It doesn't mean that's going to hold at all. This session is notorious for reversing. But you're seeing the dollar coming off. It's trading below the 98.44 breakout of resistance. And you're seeing that translating in other pairs. So just be cautious, what you're doing here. Make sure you have your stop loss in. And although it was a good trade to take, it was during the holiday. Just make sure you have, whether you even moved your stop loss to break even now, or if you have your stop loss around 132.72 or even lower at 0.13250. All right, so this is looking more and more like it was a false break of that support. We saw price wick below it. It's now being reversed during the US session. And we'll see. Again, just a long-term play here. I'm looking for another short reentry if price comes back and tests this channel over here, this resistance above. If price tests it and is rejected and starts resuming downwards, then I will look to re-enter short. I will not look to enter long until this channel trend line is broken. Once it's broken, if it breaks and when it breaks, then I have a trade to the upside. But until it breaks, I'm looking to respect that. And otherwise, I'm just on the sidelines. I'm not chasing this down here. I'm not chasing this to the downside. But it looks like we are seeing, it definitely appears that we're seeing a reversal in the dollar, that this was a false break. You have to be aware of that right now. You have to watch what's happening. Same thing here. As we get closer If we're rejected up here, the closer we get to this trend line, that's when I'll be looking for longs off of that trend line. If we're able, that would probably coincide with what's happening on the euro. But until then, I'm on the sidelines on that pair. The Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, and the euro, Japanese yen, they could offer opportunities if they're rejected first, again, off of these trend lines over here. Canadian dollar is cleaner. This one, obviously you see that support there, that red line. And if we get along this support back, another test, that's an opportunity to look for long. That's a good opportunity to look for a resumption of the trend and longs. But right now, nothing, just waiting to see what's going to happen, what's going to develop. And just because we're seeing this initial reaction on the dollar failing here, right? False breakout. We still have we still have another 2 hours really for price to pick its direction, and we'll see. It could still regain that. If anybody is curious about discussing something, want to take a look at a pair they're involved with, or something that they believe is setting up nicely and we should all take a look at, let me know. Again, just be aware next week. You have over the weekend, lots of numbers out of China, manufacturing numbers, so big ones. That's definitely could cause a lot of price movement. And then also you have the central bank, Australian central bank rate statement on Monday. We have manufacturing numbers Monday morning, US dollar, right? That might be why this is a false breakout right now. We want to see what those numbers come in at. So the calendar is busy going into next week. I don't really think non-farm payrolls is something the market is really focusing on right now. This could provide another opportunity. Long next week, that'll probably be after Monday morning, New York, after we get those manufacturing numbers out. We could either get a resumption and get another opportunity to get long here. Price will be trading right near that support. That will offer an opportunity to look at another long if price takes us in. And then also don't forget, this is a channel that when it breaks, we have a potential sell side trade with the first take profit coinciding with this trend line support, and this bottom of this blue box line is support. So US dollar, Canadian dollar will be back in play, it looks like, on Monday for us as well, but not during London, not until after those numbers out of during New York on manufacturing come out. All right, so it's one to keep an eye on. Looks like next week is going to be a busy week. So just here, let me look on the daily with you. I'm just taking a deeper look at the New Zealand dollar. What's this? Swiss franc. And the reason being is we have these two trend lines here. And you can see that the top one is because of the initial move up here, and then price spiked into it up over here. The lower one has been more of the primary one, which price has held. And the reason I'm taking a look at that right now, and I'm going to make the bottom one darker, it's the primary one. Carries more weight, is because we're testing right now the upper one. Right? But the closer we get over here to the lower trend line, that should be support now, and the closer we get to that green line is a much better entry than right here. This could work out. It's highly aggressive, and you do have this support, double support, that price is, kind of got held up right now. But let's see what happens next week. Right. And if price does come into this area, I'm going to put a blue box just to remind myself. That's really the nice area to look how price reacts. And if price holds over there, if we get an entry here Monday, we have an entry. But this looks like the more ideal entry. That's why I just wanted to focus in on that with you right now. BG, it's excellent question. A lot of traders key off of those. Whether it's the 100 on the hourly or the 200. I don't key off them at all. I don't even consider them. Excellent question. And there are traders that are successful that do that. I wanted to take a quick look at this chart with you all. All right, we're looking at Bitcoin. This is looking at Bitcoin using a log scale. All right. Now, Bitcoin, this will be really quick, but it's really important. I know little by little, some of you are interested in learning more and more about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is traded in 4-year cycles. It's because every 4 years, the miners reward. Every 10 minutes, they receive Bitcoin for confirming blocks is cut in half. Currently, they receive 12.5 Bitcoin every 10 minutes. So that Bitcoin that they're producing is then sold on the market. That in May of 2020 goes down to 6.25. And you could see because of that, it causes boom and bust cycles in Bitcoin. that occur on within 4-year cycles. So what you have is normally what happens is you have the huge euphoria boom and then the bust, right? And then you see this accumulation, breakout, retest, and then this happens over and over again. I just want you to be aware of where we are right now. This was December of 2017, right? This was after the last halving cycle, the bull cycle, the bust, the accumulation phase. We're out of the breakout. And right now we have this retest phase. If you saw the video, the last video I did on Bitcoin, I said that 6,500, I believe would be the low we saw. Price actually came right and tested it exactly. This was put out when Bitcoin was 7,500. It tested it and has since been bouncing off of it. Long term, in my opinion, this is a phenomenal area to be looking to take a position in Bitcoin. You're looking at most likely, within the next 18 months, seeing significantly higher prices on Bitcoin. Significantly higher. There's also a video on the channel on the Bitcoin halving and what the price will be. In my own opinion, $130,000 per Bitcoin in the next 18 months is highly probable. We have a lot of numbers for the market to digest coming up over the weekend, right? You wouldn't expect much follow through or movement the rest of this day. You have, again, you have manufacturing PMI, big one on Sunday night. Where are we? The big one on Sunday night out of China. Then you have the ISM manufacturing numbers Monday morning out of the US, and then the Australian Central Bank also on Monday. Lots of overhead uncertainty for the markets to digest. And, my guess is it looks like this was a fake breakout on the dollar that we saw today. We're definitely going to probably wait to see what happens on Monday. Monday morning, New York should be big as far as the dollar picking a direction. So BG, just to elaborate a little, I think that those keying off of hourly moving averages are definitely on a trading, on a shorter time frame intraday. We're trading. Well, the trades that I'm looking for are definitely, I guess, better categorized as swing trades. Trades that are going to last anywhere from 1 to 3 or 5 days, and I'm more concerned with the support and resistance that I see on the daily time frames, the bigger ones, as well as the patterns that we see, whether they're triangles or channels or broken trend lines, things of that nature. So the hourly moving averages are those who are really trading on a shorter time frame with a shorter time horizon. The market does key off of those levels. I'm not as concerned with them. Nope. So that's awesome. So here, and since we have so much downtime right now, it's really cool to talk about. But so that's just the next 4-year cycle, right? So And really, I provided some really phenomenal information, going over some really important charts in that Bitcoin halving video, and that's really one worth spending the 10 minutes or 12 minutes it is on, or 8 minutes, whatever it is. It's a really good one. But basically, so if Bitcoin were to trade at 130,000, and that's overshooting where it should be. And I'm not kidding. I mean, you have euphoria come in the market. You saw Bitcoin in 2017 go from, it went from 4,000 all the way to $20,000. This move here is like euphoria to the max. And would I be surprised if during the next bull phase that Bitcoin went, to $250,000, even if it was for a matter of weeks? I wouldn't be surprised. But you're definitely also going to see that 85% retrace from wherever that high is, right? That's going to happen for sure. Just as the next bull phase is going to happen, you're going to see that huge sell-off also happen. Bitcoin is designed to have these bull and bear phases in order to cause adoption. So Bitcoin definitely should be trading the more market fair value price in 18 months is $55,000, right? But the market is not, it's going to overshoot both ways. All right. So here's the thing though. 4 years later, we're going to be trading significantly higher, right? And although that $130,000 seems like a lot, 4 years from then, I look at the next 10 years of Bitcoin is going to have 3 halving events. That's my time horizon on Bitcoin. And I'm looking for a 10x in each of those halvings. All right. So you're talking a 1000x. So yeah, although that sounds nice, 100, you don't want to you would want to take some profits and look to buy in lower again during the next bear market. And you could just use the method I taught everyone to trade Bitcoin with on the 12-hour time frame, using the true trend to be on the right side. But there's much greater potential in Bitcoin than 130,000. That would be like, you want to pass Bitcoin off to your grandkids, right? You're not looking to sell Bitcoin. I've never even looked at them. I would love to see a chart with one of them on there, because all of that stuff is definitely I love looking at charts and see what's going on. I've never even pulled up a pitchfork. I'm not even sure where to find it. So Hanero, right now, Bitcoin is not high priced at all. It's actually relatively speaking, priced really well. This is, again, one of the best times to buy Bitcoin, in my opinion. But you don't need to buy a Bitcoin. You don't need to buy a full Bitcoin. You could buy $10 worth of Bitcoin. You could buy $100 worth of Bitcoin. You're buying, just like you don't need to buy a whole dollar, and you could have it 10 cents. So Bitcoin is fractional. You could own $100 worth of Bitcoin, or you could own, a whole Bitcoin. But you don't need to purchase Bitcoin as one Bitcoin. So although it appears expensive, I think actually it's really well priced right now. We're 6 months away from the next halving. Again, just look at where we are in perspective. And this is really one of the most common, we're really seeing the dollar come off. This is really one of the most common misconceptions about Bitcoin. A lot of people definitely still believe that you need to own a full Bitcoin. That's not the case. Again, you could own $100 worth of Bitcoin. And it's the same thing with gold, right? You don't need to own an ounce of gold or a kilo of gold. You could own fractions of gold, but gold is much harder to divide. It's much easier to purchase a fraction of a Bitcoin than it is a fraction of a piece of gold, right? Paul, glad you're able to join us and jump in. Interesting, right? Watching that false breakout today on the dollar. Dre, spreads commission is part of doing business. The best thing is not to overtrade. Overtrading is the greatest mistake any trader can make, as far as leading to ruin the quickest. Overtrading and trading too large, right? Not trading with the right position sizes is going to lead to trader ruin the quickest. And overtrading is going to kill you. First of all, on commissions. If you're trading the style that we're trading, picking your setups, picking the high probability, commissions don't even come into effect whatsoever. Now, Dre, when we were looking, for example, at the US dollar Swiss franc or the New Zealand dollar Swiss franc, when we're looking at those position trades that we're saying, hey, these might actually offer an opportunity over here on this breakout to get into some trades that really we get to hold for a while. In FX, the swamp could play a significant role, right? If you are long the euro US dollar, right, and you're holding this for an extended period of time, you're going to get killed on the swap, right? So, which is why most people are holding this short and not long. If you're trading this from in the time frame that we generally hold trades for, it's not really a factor. It's not a factor at all. Neither the commission nor the swap is not a factor at all. So you don't have to worry about it if you're not over trading or if you're not taking long position trades that are lasting, weeks or months with the swap against you. All right. If you're trading the time frame that we generally look at and hold trades for, you don't have to worry about either commissions or the swap. Yeah, I use FX Choice. The link is in the description of the video, and they offer really competitive spreads. They're fantastic all around. And same thing, Hanero. You could actually use fiat through FX Choice to you could deposit fiat, and then you could just through their back end convert that into Bitcoin. That Bitcoin could either be traded in FX Choice using Forex, or you could withdraw that out to a Bitcoin wallet. But you could the easiest and best way to buy $500 worth of Bitcoin. It depends on where you are in the world, but FX Choice is a fantastic on ramp for that. And again, I trade being what I'm looking at 10 years, right? My time horizon for Bitcoin is not the next 18 months where yeah, you get involved now, and then for the rest of the time you hold Bitcoin, you're probably most likely in good shape. But I'm looking at 10-year horizon for Bitcoin, and I'm looking at significant appreciation over the next 10 years as well. So that's why I choose to trade my foreign exchange in Bitcoin. Now the ideal thing to do, during the next euphoria phase in Bitcoin, before the next bull market hits, this is what I will do. This is why I just want to show you really quick. Let me remove this. This is something I was playing with. This is the best way I know to be, to be holding Bitcoin or not holding Bitcoin. By far, this will have you in Bitcoin when you should be in Bitcoin, on the sidelines when you should be on the sidelines. And what I will do, then, if you see Bitcoin trading at 55, 130, $200,000 in the next bull market, when this crosses to the downside, I will get flat and get into dollars. And I will do that just by switching an FX choice, from a base account in Bitcoin to a base account in US dollars. And then whenever it is that Bitcoin goes ahead and starts accumulating again for the breakout, I'll get back into Bitcoin. Awesome. That is a good plan, JJ. One thing though, where am I? Follow this, and just by simply switching your FX count when this turns green to Bitcoin. For example, had you done that back here, Bitcoin was trading at 4,500, right? Let's say you had an account of $2,000 in US dollars in FX, and you had gone ahead here and moved into Bitcoin and then exited over here. You would have doubled your account from the appreciation in Bitcoin alone, right? Just by following that. And over here, let's say you had $2,000 in FX when Bitcoin was trading at $250. You moved your FX account into Bitcoin, and you didn't exit until 8,500. You had a 30x, right? So your 2,000 account would have been $60,000. So do you understand why I'm saying to you that when Bitcoin is trending upwards, no matter where the price was, if you just follow this, if you just stay on the right side of the true trend, keep your account in FX in Bitcoin during the 12-hour, when the true trend on the Bitcoin BTC 333 period is up, you're going to make a greater return than you will from FX alone, clearly. Yes, absolutely. That's awesome. The Wall Street cheat sheet for looking at the market cycles psychologically of traders' behavior. Absolutely. I'm sharing with you now. It's so important. This is just the easiest way. This is the easiest way. Look, over here was the hardest part to trade. Over here, you had some back and forth, and then over here. But even if you had your account in Bitcoin and over here you got back into dollars, you also accumulated 40% as much Bitcoin when you got back into Bitcoin from the dollars. It's insane. I'm happy to share this with you. This could really be the difference in people over the next 10 years actually developing real tangible wealth. So, okay, that's a really good question and this is a great opportunity to talk about it. You're asking whether or not Litecoin or Ethereum or any other coin, XRP, is a good investment. And here's the thing: is that the truth is anyone else invested in any other coin, whether it's Ethereum or Litecoin or XRP, they're looking to accumulate more Bitcoin off of those coins. They're hoping that those coins will accumulate faster than Bitcoin so that they could get it to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the only one whose application is money, right? And it's not only money, it's sound money. It's going to be in 18 months, it's going to have a lower inflation rate than gold. So there are times during the market cycles when owning Ethereum or Litecoin will produce a greater return than Bitcoin. For example, that usually happens 6 months after the halving, after like the next speculation phase of Bitcoin happens, and then a lot of people are being introduced to cryptocurrencies. They think Bitcoin's too expensive. They think they can make more money holding another coin, and you'll see a lot of speculation go into those coins. And it's called alt season, where these altcoins appreciate in value. And yes, they could appreciate much. They could provide a much better return than Bitcoin, not over the long term, and it's a lot riskier holding them. So I recommend just doing this, just following. This is all you need. If you do this for the next 10 years, if you're trading Forex, whether it's in dollars or Bitcoin, depending on when you should be in dollars or Bitcoin, you're making your return on FX and you're holding your base account in Bitcoin. I believe that's the safest, easiest way to do it. Is it possible that you can make more money? Let's say we're in 2021, that for a 6 month period, Ethereum could outperform Bitcoin. It's possible. It's highly possible. But again, you want to take the safest trades that provide the best opportunity, just as we do in Forex. Yeah, Dre, had you known that in 2013, but here's the thing, it is so early in the adoption of Bitcoin, it's ridiculous. It's kind of like the internet in 1995. It's before AOL, right? Remember, they had America Online, where people, around 2000 would use a modem, a telephone modem, to connect to the internet. It would take a long time and it would disconnect. You couldn't do things like streaming videos and things like that. And that's when most people found out about the internet. And that's before the growth of the internet. That's kind of like Bitcoin is before that right now, and it's still extremely early. And you could say that, in 10 years from now, in 2030, you'll be like, yeah, in 2019, had I gotten into Bitcoin, it's still so early. And you haven't missed it. You're finding out about Bitcoin before, I think 0.4% of the people in the world hold Bitcoin. Just like in 1995, 0.4% of the people use the internet. So again, and this is crucial. We have some downtime right now, right? We know exactly what's going on in the markets. We know what we're getting prepared for next week. This is really important for how you develop wealth, right? By trading a Forex account in Bitcoin and holding Bitcoin in that account at the right time, you you're not going to turn $2,000 in, 2 years into $60,000 trading Forex. You're not going to do that. Had you had your Forex account in Bitcoin, you would have done that plus your return on your Forex account. Yeah, so Bitcoin has been around for 10 years now. It's the best performing asset class by far in the last 10 years. It's the first new asset class probably of our lifetimes. This is not something that, it's a once in a lifetime event, probably the investment of a lifetime for anyone our age. Millennials are not looking to invest in the stock market. They don't trust the banks. They don't trust Wall Street. They grew up during the crisis. They remember that. They remember what happened. They trust more in cryptocurrency. Over the next 10 years, they're going to be coming into a lot of money. Where are they going to invest that money? You have to look at what's going on generational. We're also seeing a crisis develop in fiat currencies. We're having a race to zero right now. We're seeing $17 trillion of negative yielding assets right now. Bitcoin, gold, good long-term investments. Gold is not going to have the type of appreciation that Bitcoin's going to have. Anyway, everyone is still extremely early. You don't need to own a full Bitcoin. You could own $100 worth of Bitcoin. It doesn't matter the fraction of it that you own or buy. And we're here to make money. I'm looking at where the opportunity is, and we have to be aware of Bitcoin. I believe that trading the foreign exchange market, which is a $5-6 trillion market turnover daily, is the best market to be trading. But I also believe that Bitcoin is the best asset to be holding. Yeah, I mean, Hanero, it is, but I'm trying all the time, whether it's through the videos I put out or through the live streams we do together and talking with you, is really getting everyone up to speed and sharing with them what I know so that they could get there too. I'm hoping over time, over the next 1, 3, 6 months next year to be able to put out and organize the information as best as possible. And in the meantime, doing what we do day in and day out. And I'm sure, like anything else, it'll be 80-20, right? 20% of the people that hear the information that everyone else is hearing being shared here will actually take action on it, and they'll be able to follow through, and they'll be able to profit. And 80% of the people won't do anything, right? We're all receiving the same information. That's awesome, DJ. And I'm going to gather what you've learned during those 6 years is you've learned about the cycles of Bitcoin. You've learned about the boom and bust phases, and you're probably really well prepared now going forward to take advantage of those, right? Hey, listen, I need to be holding. I need to take some profits off the table during the euphoria stage. And I know that easily we're going to have an 85% pullback and when to get in. Listen, this will make your life easier than ever. you imagine since 2013 that you were holding when the trend was up and on the sidelines when it was down? How much Bitcoin you would have accumulated? And it's still early. It's so early. It's ridiculous. And it's a lot safer than when you first got back into it in 2013 when it was really risky. I appreciate that, Nima. And right, it's all every trade we take, we're looking at the downside. We're looking at what our risk is, and we know there's a good chance that the trade is going to go against us. However, because we're lining up our risk to reward really well, that you know puts us on the right side. We're not chasing after things. We're waiting things for developed. We're waiting for the right trades, and it's not easy when we get into them. It's not easy initially, right? But we're taking the right trades. Appreciate that. It's true. I sincerely believe that anyone within a reasonable amount of time within a couple of weeks, you should really understand what it is we're doing and how we're doing it. And that's enough. That's a really low barrier to entry. A couple of weeks to really understand what it is we're doing and how we're doing it. And it takes that little bit. It probably takes 20 minutes a day of watching the replay if you can't be present for the live stream to really be up to speed. DJ, I mean, I know I wish that you had every single Bitcoin you'd gotten back then, but the experience and the knowledge you obtained since has really set you up well for the next 10 years. I believe that. Hanero, does it seem that simple? Yep. That's the thing. It's so simple, and a fraction of people are going to follow through on it. So that's the thing. You could give people the formula, and even still only a fraction will do it. Is it that simple? Yes. It's that simple. It is really that simple. Now you just need to do it. But it is that simple. And you have your Forex account, and you could just switch back and forth inside the Forex account from dollars to Bitcoin. When it's red, you're in dollars. You pay for FX choice. You do pay 1.5% for switching between Bitcoin and dollars. That's really nothing. Not that that's not nothing. It's worth it, especially when you're talking 30x. But it's also worth it because you're making that money from FX to begin with, covering that. We're really seeing a strong reversal take place on the dollar today. Before it happened, we were looking for it. It's the first thing we said when we jumped in this morning. We were looking to see whether or not this breakdown was going to hold. And it hasn't. It's clear now it hasn't. This is good because I really want to be able to take another look at this resistance up here, and hope we get up here. As soon as we get towards this trend line here, I want to be taking a look for a short, right? To get back down short the Euro US dollar. So, I'm happy about that. Same thing here. The closer we get to this trend line here, I'll have another opportunity on the US dollar, Japanese yen. But I'm just waiting. We're in no man's land. We never want to trade in no man's land because we don't have an edge. We do. It really appears to me next week is going to be a busy week. We're going to have opportunities. right? There's so much happening. It seems like once we get these numbers out of the way on Monday, and it could be a good week. I'm trying little by little to do as much as I can and share as much as I can, Hanero. And, if you're able to help in actually best, kind of like if you were at university and you were taking notes and you were a good note taker and you were able to go ahead and take the information that's being shared and be able to present it in a way like on a PDF or something that was really helpful. And obviously the most helpful for the person preparing it, because that's how they learn the best, right? I could help build off of it. I'm more focused on our webpage, presenting the information there. Again, as you're learning and the information that you're taking and being able to put into practice and that you see, is working, if you could go ahead and get started on that, it's going to help you. And I would appreciate having that for others as well. We do have this weekend, the weekly Forex forecast will be released and published. I think it's a phenomenal video. It really helps set the tone for the week ahead. We got to cover a lot of what we see going on together this session. That's going to present it in a really short and concise way. I believe that's the first step anyone needs to take who is joining this journey with us, is using that weekly Forex forecast as the foundation of our plan, because it's using that plan for the week ahead that every day during the live streams, we continue to build off the flow and see what develops. But it's really, really, really crucial, as is not over trading, waiting and taking the right setups as close to resistance and support as possible, or the breakdown of a trend line or a chart pattern, right? Looking for good risk to rewards. Trading off of that weekly plan if you start doing that, you're going to see your trading turn around. Really spiking up now. These live, do I enjoy teaching? Well, BJ, this is multiple. We don't have any course that we're selling. We're going to, and maybe even this weekend. It depends. I have a busy weekend ahead. We have 5 kids. We got 1-year-old twins, and I know my wife is going to need a lot of help this weekend. So I don't know how much time I'm going to have, but most of the work is done. Is just getting up and organizing everything that we're doing here every day, making it easier. I look forward to the morning much more doing these live streams than when I'm doing this by myself. It's not even comparable. Like, I look forward to the live streams, which is good because that means that they could continue. If I didn't like doing it, then there would be no reason to do it. Now, I learn a lot from it. It helps my trading articulate. It's not that I enjoy teaching per se, but I enjoy the value it brings me by the way I have to articulate things to you, which benefits my trading enormously. By having to articulate it through a teaching aspect of what's going on, the extra time that takes, really laying out the plan and thinking it through, enormously benefits myself 100%. As well as interaction and community is good, right? We're humans. We like that. The worst. Trading solo is lonely And if you're trading solo and you don't know how to profit from the markets, trading solo is devastating. Devastating. It's the worst. If you don't know how to make profits from the market and you're kind of lost and you're figuring it out, it's the worst. Mima, I appreciate you so much. Thank you. So I guess next week, next Tuesday will probably be about 4 weeks since we started this. I believe that's correct. I don't know if it's 3 or 4 weeks. And it's a short time, but I know that everyone who has been with us is following what we're doing. I know it's greatly benefited their trading in that short period of time, and they know it, and that's for sure. And that's all shared for free. And Hanera, I know I said by Monday the latest, probably I would have that portal open. Honestly, I don't know that it's going to be true, and because really preparing the weekly forecast, the weekly Forex forecast, that is time consuming. That takes a lot of time and editing. And again, we have a busy weekend at home. I know that my wife is going to need a lot of help this weekend. We really see this extending, this false break here on the DXY. We're seeing that everywhere. Um, I know it's been, what have we been in? We're almost a couple hours into the live stream. I haven't even checked because we don't need to. We get it all from the charts. I just want to see what is going on or how they're describing what's going on. I'm going to check in on Forex Live and just see what's coming across the wires. I don't, it looks like what we're seeing now, though, will continue. We have such big news over the weekend. I believe that manufacturing numbers Monday morning is going to be a big one. Yeah, that's it. I mean, there's nothing. It's just everything we saw on the charts. I hope we get up to here on gold. I hope we trade back towards 1472, 1477. This resistance up here, because this gives us a great opportunity if we do get up here to look for shorts, as well as if the bulls are able to take that level out. That looks like a great opportunity to the long side. So I hope sometime, I don't think it'll be, I don't know when it will be. I hope that we get another look at this level, though, because that provides a good opportunity to the short or long side. This doesn't seem to be one that's near term, though. It looks like we still have some time for that to develop. That's awesome, BG, and really enjoy having you here with us. Thank you for adding so much to the community and the discussion. Nero, thank you, brother. Thank you. Is there anyone looking at something that I'm missing that we've missed this morning? If you are, definitely interested to take a look at it myself, for all of us to get a look. This is a reminder. This is what we're looking for next week. This would be ideal, right? We don't want to be perfectionists. If you're looking for perfection, you're never going to get into anything good. But we want to, you see this support down here? You see this green line of support? When it was broken, it came back up, retested it. This is a strong support. So we want to lean off it if we get another look at it. This brighter trend line down here, that's the one that we pay more attention to. So the closer we get to testing that, this double support over here, the closer we are to here, as we resume up, the better entry. Look at that. And are we seeing weakness in the yen or strength right now? A little bit of weakness right now. All right. Good job. Good job. Would love to see you get clear that resistance. Now, I believe your entry was down over here on the break of this trend line, right around there. You know, if you clear this resistance over here, which would just draw that in anyway. It's an important line for us to be looking at. If we clear this to the upside, I'm looking to get long on a test of this, you know, as support of this broken resistance test as support. I'm definitely looking up in this range to get long off of that. Adversely, since I'm not in this trade with you, and right now, what are you doing? You're looking as we're testing this resistance. You have to. This is where you set your stop to break even, right? As you get a look at this resistance. And if you bounce off it, you also have to look to take profit. If we get rejected here and we get an opportunity to test down lower off of this trend line support and this support down here, this red line, this should be green now. If we get a look down here, I'm looking to get long off a successful test off of here, back up to here. So you're at an inflection point, though. It's good if you're still in the trade, but you should be looking at your stop loss being moved to break even, and you should be looking to see how price does react over here. If it you know starts it's stalling. If it starts retracing, you want to take that profit and then look to get back in. You'll have two more chances to look for longs. That's a breakout above on the retest or off the trend line down here. Yep, absolutely, 100%. So, and really, Hanero, that all comes down to the individual and person. You could tell someone, listen, you need to, you need to go for a walk 3 days a week for a half hour, and you need to eat a diet low in sugar, and be eating X and Y, and you could take 100 people, and maybe 5, maybe 20 the people are going to do it, and the other people are not. It's entirely up to you. It's entirely up to you. I believe anyone who learns and does what we're doing here could absolutely be highly successful, extraordinarily successful. It's entirely up to you. I don't believe there's anyone that cannot do it. Yeah, baby steps are good, and in everything, right? It's that progress, consistent progress, little by little. I mean, you don't only do that. You're definitely present and learning and aware. I would be really interested to have some type of understanding of what you learned. Actually, Hanero, if you have time, sometime in the next few days, and it could probably take you anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes to longer, but to actually write down what you've learned and what you understand and the steps that you are taking to improve, I think that would be enormously beneficial for yourself. And if you want to go ahead and write that down and then share it with me, I'll take a look at it. No, I don't know. I think there are a few. There is FX Choice, which I have fantastic experience with. There is Simple FX, and Simple FX doesn't offer as good as spreads or swaps as FX Choice. But if you deposit Bitcoin, not fiat, if you use fiat there, you have to do KYC. If you do just Bitcoin, you don't need to do it KYC. So that's like a trade off. You have higher fees and higher swaps, but no KYC. And there's also I believe it's Hot Forex. I believe it's Hot Forex. I don't have experience with them, so I'm not positive about that, but I believe that's what it is. Um, no, there are not many brokers that actually offer to have the base currency in Bitcoin, but there are options, and there's probably more than the three I mentioned. There may be more than the three I mentioned, um, but those are the three that I'm familiar with. Yeah, Hanero. I believe you took a look yesterday at the U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar, right? I believe you took a look at this trade that you got into it, and it was a good one to look at, except for the timing, being Thursday and Friday of this holiday week. But it was a good one to look at and a good one to take. And I believe you saw it, and the reason why we're trading off of this support here as price came down and tested it over here with our entry criteria, right? Similar to over here. This was another look at it. Now the entry, and this is kind of the easy part. This is the entry I take. Now this could be done on smaller time frames. I trade the 8 hour, and I trade the 8 hour because it is the easiest to trade for the lifestyle that I have. It allows you to trade both overnight on London as well as while you're sleeping, as well as New York. It takes a lot of market price chop and fluctuations out. The 4 hour provides a lot of false signals, period. Right? The same support and resistance you see on the 8 hour or in the daily, you will see on the 1 hour, and you'll also see on the 4 hour. So it doesn't, you get the same exact supports. See that? So the 8 hour filters out a lot of false signals. Now, where was the entry? The entry is easy because the entry is when price starts resuming back towards the trend. So the way that I do that is when price makes a higher high than the previous 8 hour price bar, I enter, right? Is that the best possible entry? Well, it depends on a million different factors. This is the one most conducive to producing profits, as well as being able to trade, or in a way that you could trade sustainably for a long time. This is why I use it, right? So the entry that I use, and I'm not saying it's the most perfect entry though, to get into these trades, is only when price is resuming back towards the direction I'm looking to take the trade. And I look for a higher high than the previous price bar when buying, or a lower low than the previous price bar when selling. They are based out of wait, hold on. I know. I actually have a company based there myself. Um, I don't know why it's escaping me though. Um, it's really escaping me. Oh, I don't know. Hold on. Belize. They're located in Belize. Well, Dre, that really depends. And again, because I'm trading off of support, resistance, trend lines, patterns, it's the same as on the 1 hour and 4 hour, as far as I'm concerned. Because if I was using this trend line here, right? If I was using this trend line, my stop is going to be placed in the same place regardless of the time frame, whether it's 1 hour, 15 minutes, 4 hours, 8 hours, or daily. I'm using the same stop loss, right? My stop loss, I see lots of support down here. Anything below that looks really safe to me, right? We discussed that earlier in the live stream of where I put my stop here. I said the tighter one would be under this area over here. And you could see that it was tight and taken out. I, you know, if you were taking entries, do you get a better entry on the 1 hour than the 8 hour off of the support? Yes. But is it a false signal? There's lots of false signals on the 1 hour and 4 hour. And unless you could be trading, looking at the screen nonstop for 8 and 12 hours at a time, you can't really trade it. So you're going to take more trades on a shorter time frame. You're going to have a higher losing percentage. And although maybe you're getting more precise entries, I don't think it's advantageous. I think it's a disadvantage. I think it's an advantage to trade off the higher time frames, at least the 8 hour, right? Maybe the 12, but at least the 8 hour. I think it's provides much greater advantage than the lower time frames. And the only time this would be different is in an extraordinarily fast moving market, which really is very rare occurrence. Hanera, when you're buying, I use the previous high, the previous price bar's high. I do. What is this nonsense? This is crazy. This guy's juggling Rubik's Cubes and solves them at the same time. Humans are incredible. It's totally craziness. Baked beans and toast. You know, in Mexico, they call that molletes. Refried beans and toast with a little bit of chili and tomato on top. And it is delicious. I'd have to say for Friday on a holiday, we got a lot done today. It was a really productive session, right? We were able to cover a lot. We see what's going on. We see what's going on in the week ahead. We were able to take a good look, and we were expecting what did occur during this session, that it was a possibility. That's what we're doing on every single trade, right? Basically, all we're doing is we're looking at what could go right, what could go wrong, positioning ourselves at the best opportunity to take a position, whether that's through price resuming back towards the trend, taking that off of support and resistance, trend lines, and giving ourselves the best risk to reward ratios. That's all we're doing. I say that's all we're doing like it's nothing. Yeah, it's a big deal, and it's hard to figure out on your own. But once you start doing it and following it, it seems rather simple. And yes, Hanero, anyone could do it. I'm really happy though that because we had some downtime here, that we got a look at Bitcoin from that really top perspective and had the time to go ahead and discuss it little by little, small steps, right? And they all add up. And we covered a lot of ground regarding Bitcoin today. That was really important. Again, there are two videos that I do recommend watching regarding Bitcoin. The one where I show exactly using the 12-hour time frame, the Bitcoin strategy I call for beginners, but anyone trading Bitcoin. That video I highly recommend. But the one on the halving is so informative, it's ridiculous. Really watch that video. It will really open up your eyes. Actually, there's more than a few. There's about 4 or 5 videos on Bitcoin on the channel, and they're all really, really informative. So if you want to start doing some research while you have some time over the weekend, definitely those are things to give a look to learn a lot. But the replay in today's live stream is a good one. That's a classic one for people. Hanero, we're going to get to that in 1 second. I know we were looking at WTI earlier. What were we looking at? So the move we're seeing, Paul was just explaining why. You're still trading. You haven't yet broken this. You're coming close. You are outside of it now. It looks like you are breaking outside of that trend line. A close below it will be decisive. This is where it's happening today, huh? Now, you couldn't have got into this. You shouldn't have been into this trade short over here, right? Yeah, you want to play off the support. It's breaking today, right? That looks clear. It looks like you're going to get a close outside of it. What do you do to get in? Now, sometimes you get moves that you never get a chance to get into, especially to the downside, and it happens, but better not to get involved than chase something. Obviously, if we get a close outside this trend line here, and then what develops in the week ahead, what you said there were some meetings, December 5th, right? So you have next week, it's almost a little better to wait for the dust to settle and clear before picking a direction, right? Because if you have some big fundamental news coming up on the pair, you are seeing a breakdown right now, but that could be reversed then next week depending on what happens. Either which way, look for that retest of the trend line. Look for a retest to go ahead and get short instead of chasing such a huge big move down. Wait for the opportunity to get in. Unless you're already short, and this was risky if you were short up here, watch and wait and get in at the right time. If you're day trading this today, again, I would not be taking a trade here. I would just not be taking a trade here. There's no way. By the time that I found it, by the time that I got short, that's when the move would retrace. I prefer trading off of a test of this resistance as an opportunity to get in, waiting for the true trend to go ahead on a small time frame, get positive, and then resume back downwards. Anything but chasing after this right now. It's rare that it works. It's rare that you could chase after something and you're trading at minor support right now. But it's there. This is what's moving, though. This is what's moving today. Nero, as far as security for holding Bitcoin, I do recommend hardware wallets such as Trezor or Ledger or Cold Card. And depending on how much Bitcoin you're holding, a hardware wallet costs about $70, and it's the safest way to store Bitcoin. looking back at this, we looked at this really early in the live stream today, and we were talking about where would you place your stop loss on this trade. And we looked at two different possible places. We said the safer one was down over here, somewhere around 1.325. And then we said that the more aggressive one, the tighter one, would have been right here below this last penetration of the entry CCI, and that this one was much more aggressive. And you could see this one would have got stopped out here, but we're trading back within the channel now. So sometimes, often, it's really better to take the safer stop loss with a lower position size, right? To take a lower position size because your risk is longer if your stop is further away, but taking the stop loss that is less likely to get taken out. Overall, it's going to add up and provide more profit. A lot of people think that, they need to trade bigger to make more profit. Is absolutely not the case at all. It's not the case at all. Usually trading bigger leads to you losing money compared to making money. Again, gold next week. Hold on. As I was saying, just a reminder here, what we're looking for on gold. We'll be watching. We are trading right now at this little bit of resistance. But if we could get closer to here, if we get closer to 1475, we're at a beautiful point, because we're going to be looking for the trend to resume downwards. But a break above this area opens up a lot of room to the upside. We'll be looking for longs. We have about, wow, it's just getting bigger now, about $40 of possible, $30, $40 to the upside to look for in a trade. You have the next resistance up here and this resistance over here to key off of. So if the bulls regain this level, that's looking nice. At the same time, we'll look for the bears to take control at that resistance. We are trading at a near-term resistance right now. Probably what the market is going to be looking for will be what happens on Monday with the manufacturing numbers out of the US. Okay, I find that for you. Right here, the ISM manufacturing PMI should be the next catalyst the dollar looks for. And I mean, also we are seeing the dollar coming off of this false break everywhere. There we saw right before New York opened, and since has been retracing. we're also seeing yen weakness across the board, weaker than the dollar. So I don't know. I mean, what I do know is that we have a lot of news to digest over the weekend and on Monday, and also this could be month-end flows being tied up. The move that we're seeing this morning. BJ, Trading in the Zone is absolutely a classic. I've never read it. Mark Douglas, I've never read it. I've known about it for the past 19 years. Some of my best friends have read it. Everybody recommends it. I've never read it, and I probably should. Ongoing education is crucial for every single trader, and especially you'll see the greatest traders, right? This is what they focus on and do. So that's a good reminder. I've never seen it. I probably want to check out. There's some good YouTube videos you can find of of people that do book reviews. I'd maybe like to check that out first and just get an overview of the good concepts even before reading it. I think I'll get more out of it when reading it. But that's Mark Douglas. Trading in the Zone has been a classic and is always at the top of people's lists for a long time. And Paul, by the way, that's excellent information you share with us for those that do follow oil. And thanks for sharing that with me because I don't trade oil, but I do like to follow everything. And it'll be interesting to see kind of how that plays out now, knowing the big date upcoming December 5th. All right, everyone. That's a session for us today. I'm going to go ahead and later today do some nice work preparing our weekly Forex forecast for us that we have that to key off for the weekend. It's been a great week, holiday week here. We covered a lot though, and I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I will look forward to catching up with you more on Monday. I'll talk to you later, everyone. Have a great weekend.